Why do so many countries in the world seem to have ongoing issues with China? The US, Japan, India, Australia, Lithuania, among others, continually find themselves at odds with China. Germany, France, Sweden, Denmark, and others occasionally mock China. It seems as if China is being isolated by the entire international community. In reality, upon closer observation, it's not just China that has numerous enemies. Both the United States and Russia have a multitude of enemies as well. China, Russia, Belarus, North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, and others are considered enemies of the United States. The United States, Ukraine, the Baltic states, and nearly all of Western Europe, including Germany, France, and the UK, are considered enemies of Russia. China, the US, and Russia all have many enemies. However, how many enemies does France, Germany, or the UK have? Primarily just Russia. How many enemies does India have? Mainly just China and Pakistan. While China, the US, and Russia all have a multitude of enemies, they also have many friends. But upon closer observation, one will notice that China's friends are different from those of the US. And China has numerous die-hard friends. How many friends does the US have? Japan, South Korea are considered friends of the US, but are they genuine friends? The US merely treats them as followers. Is the EU a friend of the US? If they were true friends, Germany and France wouldn't constantly think about establishing their own European army. These countries are merely under US political, economic, or military control and have no choice but to be friends with the US. That kind of friendship isn't genuine because it's not based on an equal relationship but a subordinate one. The true friends of the US might be limited to Australia, the UK, Canada, and New Zealand. Other countries are not really considered genuine friends by the US. How many genuine friends does Russia have? Countries like the 5 Central Asian countries, Belarus, Cuba, Venezuela, Syria, Iran, and others. But what about China? China has quite a few die-hard friends. How many die-hard friends does China have? In everyone's perception, Pakistan might count, Serbia might count, Cambodia might count. But if asked further, it might be hard to list. However, in reality, China's die-hard friends are far more numerous than people imagine. It's just that some countries keep a low profile, and people haven't paid attention or noticed. Let's now discuss who China's die-hard friends really are. How were these relationships formed? Who are China's staunchest friends? In this video, we'll delve deeper into China's circle of friends. I believe many would say it's Pakistan. However, I think China's closest friend is North Korea. Some time ago, there was a significant piece of news. The China-North Korea Friendship, Cooperation, and Mutual Assistance Treaty was renewed. This treaty consists of 7 articles, with one exceptionally crucial clause, that is, the second article in the treaty. Both contracting parties undertake to adopt all measures to prevent any country from invading either of the contracting parties. In the event of either contracting party being subjected to an armed attack by any state or several states jointly and thus being at war, the other contracting party shall immediately, to the extent of its power, render military and other assistance. Put simply, if any country or countries invade China, then North Korea must, to the extent of its power, assist China. And vice versa. In essence, this is a military alliance. In a nation's foreign relations, a military alliance is undoubtedly the highest level because it binds lives and destinies together. Besides the second article, there's another clause equally important, which is the third article in the treaty. Both contracting parties shall not enter into any alliance directed against the other contracting party, nor shall they participate in any coalition or actions or measures directed against the other contracting party. What does this mean? In simple terms, China won't form alliances with countries hostile to North Korea, nor participate in any actions or measures against North Korea alongside countries or alliances with hostile relations. For instance, if the US and South Korea have an alliance and wish to impose economic sanctions on North Korea, then China cannot join in sanctioning North Korea alongside the US and South Korea. China's second die-hard friend is Pakistan. How did this close relationship between China and Pakistan come about? I believe this is somewhat familiar to everyone. After World War II, the Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union began. At that time, India leaned toward the Soviet Union. Even today, India's constitution still specifies it as a socialist country, while India and Pakistan were arch-enemies, with India constantly aiming to annex Pakistan and regain the vast territory of British India. India aligned with the Soviet Union, inevitably leading the US to support Pakistan. Note, in the beginning, China and India had relatively good relations while Pakistan sided with the US. Later, as China fell out with the Soviet Union, India continued invading China, prompting China to teach India a lesson. At this point, both the US and the Soviet Union supported India to collectively confront China. With the US and the Soviet Union supporting India against China, Pakistan was naturally abandoned by both superpowers, making Pakistan a global orphan at that time. With the support of the US and the Soviet Union, India began annexing Pakistan, engaging in continuous wars with Pakistan, and separating East Pakistan from Pakistan. To counter their mutual enemy, India, China stood behind Pakistan, continuously warning India, if India dared continue bullying Pakistan, China would undoubtedly not stand idly by. Subsequently, China kept providing various forms of military aid to Pakistan, supporting Pakistan in its confrontation with India. As a result, relations between China and Pakistan improved, and ultimately, Pakistan became China's iron brother. China's third die-hard friend is Serbia. After World War II, Serbia, along with Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, and Montenegro, formed the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. These countries were all Yugoslavs, amalgamating into a federation similar to the United States. Yugoslavia had a very famous figure called Tito. After World War II, the Soviet Union, aiming to spread communist ideology worldwide and liberate all workers and peasant classes, began incessantly exporting revolution, international communist movement, abbreviated as ICM, and interfering in other countries' internal affairs. According to Stalin's suggestion, the Soviet Union primarily took charge of exporting revolution to Europe, while China was responsible for exporting revolution to Asian countries. During the period of the non-aligned movement, the main reason the US bombed the movement was China's moral support for it. Thus, the US attributed the resistance of the non-aligned movement to China and bombed the Chinese embassy. In essence, China supported the non-aligned movement, and the US taught China a lesson as a warning to others. In 2002, the non-aligned movement disintegrated into two countries, Serbia and the Republic of Montenegro. Additionally, after Kosovo, an autonomous province of Serbia, declared independence in 2008, it separated from Serbia. After Kosovo's independence from Serbia, it gained recognition from 108 countries and regions. However, even today, China, Russia, Serbia, and 90 other countries or regions still do not recognize Kosovo's independent status. Now, everyone knows why China and Serbia have such a good relationship. China had an excellent relationship with Serbia during the era of Tito. During the non-aligned movement period, China was bombed by NATO for supporting the movement, and now, China still does not recognize Kosovo. Apart from North Korea, Pakistan, and Serbia, these three die-hard friends, China has many other staunch friends. In July 2021, an article in the Hong Kong, South China Morning Post mentioned that in the past, the English versions of China's diplomatic statements rarely used the term ironclad to describe China's close relationships with other countries. However, now this term has been used for 14 countries. Which 14 countries are these? Brazil, Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Mali, Malta, Namibia, Pakistan, Romania, Serbia, Tanzania, Yemen, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Among these, Pakistan and Serbia are relatively familiar to everyone. Apart from these 14 countries, China has many other die-hard friends that haven't been openly mentioned in the news. With this count, China indeed has many friends. Only the strong have numerous enemies and friends simultaneously. While friends are crucial, China need not worry about having many enemies because the path to greatness is inevitably filled with hardships and challenges. Heroes are made by breaking through thousands of obstacles. To wear the crown, one must bear its weight. The road to the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation will undoubtedly be fraught with various obstacles. Just open your arms and embrace the challenges. This is the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. We genuinely appreciate your support.